Today we're breaking down the major shotgun buff that is coming with a new season of Rainbow Six Siege. So first off, what is changing? So today's video we're going to be focusing on the dispersion cone, and this is how far your pellets spread out. However, this is not being uniformly changed for all of the shotguns. So for example, the Supernova is going to have a tighter pellet spread with hipfire, however it's not being buffed in the ADS dispersion. Whereas the ITA-12L is getting buffed both in ADS and hipfire. And then you'll notice that some of the shotguns are entirely missing, like say Pulse's shotgun and Frost shotgun, who are not getting any improvements to the spread of their pellets. However, they do show up in recoil changes. However, the recoil changes are both an improvement and a nerf, as the recoil will be first shot reduction. However, after that first shot is increased recoil. And we will not be testing recoil in this video, because first of all, I hate testing shotguns, and second of all, I hate tested recoil. So we're going to stick to the spread of pellets. We'll test today the Supernova, which is used by Hibana, Echo, and Amaru. The ITA-12L, which is used by Jackal, Mira, and Solus. The M590A1, which is used by Sledge, Thatcher, Smoke, Mute, Warden, and Daemus. The FO12, which is only used by Ella, but I do know this will be an extremely popular weapon in the new season if the buffs are significant. And then finally the Sega 12, which is used by Capcan, Finka, and Fenrir. And the idea here is to get a baseline understanding of what the ADS and hipfire spread of the pellets means for the shotguns. So we're testing shotguns here that get both the ADS and hipfire buffs, some that only get the hipfire changes, and some that only get the ADS changes. This video will also be full of timestamps, so you can go straight to the shotgun you're interested in. So we'll start with the Supernova. This is only getting a buff to its hipfire spread. The ADS pellet spread, as you can see, remains unchanged and is extremely good for a shotgun in Rainbow Six Siege. And then we have the old hipfire spread. This is with a target at 5 meters. You can see that if you were to shoot someone in the chest, you might get a few pellets on target, but that's about it for each shot that you're firing from the shotgun at this range with hipfire. And then with the new spread, it doesn't look a heck of a lot better initially when you're looking at it, but as soon as you put it side by side, it is considerably better. To the point of where you're shooting someone in the chest with this shotgun now with hipfire, you are going to do significantly more damage. But for the most part, most of the pellets are still around the outside of that circle. Now moving on to the ITA-12L. Now this is a shotgun that's being buffed both in the ADS and hipfire spread. So the question for me is the buff significant for both the ADS and hipfire with this shotgun, or is the buff being spread out between the both of them so that they're maybe just marginally better with both? And I think you'll be able to tell right off the bat that the new one is significantly better. That is a tight cluster. And as a result, at this range of 5 meters, if you shoot them in the chest, there's a very good chance you're actually going to kill them in a single shot. And even if you push this out to 10 meters, if you're just hitting them in the chest, you're going to do significant damage. Now you'll notice with the old hipfire spread that none of the pellets actually hit the center, and that's where of course I am aiming. The rest are all around in a circle, which means using this gun as a hipfire weapon is just bad. However, with the new version, the clustering is far better, to the point of where it is actually conceivable that you could eliminate someone by hip firing almost as quickly as aiming down the sights at this range of 5 meters. And with the hipfire allowing you more mobility, this means you could be a harder target while still doing significant damage to the enemy. Next up, we've got Sledge's shotgun. This is getting buffed in both ADS and hipfire. This is the old ADS, and it's very reasonable. You can do significant, consistent damage with this shotgun. Now with the new one here, it's not immediately apparent if this is significantly better, but doing this side by side, we can see that yeah, it is actually improved. However, compared to the other shotguns we've looked at, I would say this is a minor change overall. You'll definitely do more damage, don't get me wrong, but just not that much more. And then just like what we've seen before, the hipfire accuracy for this shotgun is already pretty good. And for the most part, I wouldn't say it's bad, you know, compared to ones we've already looked at. Pretty decent. And then we're looking to have more of the same here because again, this is not significantly better than what we had before, but it is an improvement. So with this shotgun, we're actually looking at, I would say, marginal improvements, both to ADS and hipfire. But like I say, with both of them, they were already pretty good in the current version, and they've just been slightly improved. And now we've got a fan favorite. This is the FO12 for Ela, and whenever this gets buffed, people jump on it like crazy. So it's supposed to be getting an upgrade with the ADS, and as you can see currently it is pretty bad. It's nothing like mental for the amount of fire rate this thing has, but it's not great. Now looking at the new version, although we can't really see through these iron sights, it's not looking much better. And if we go and look at the side by side, I would actually say there is no difference. And this is listed as having an ADS buff with this season, and I do not believe we are seeing the results of that. Now you can obviously just say, oh, it's slightly better, but like you ain't going to be doing more damage with this. So it's pretty much the same. Now let's test its hipfire spread. Now you might be asking me what's the point of wasting our time in this video testing this because it's not changing. The patch notes clearly indicate this is having an ADS improvement, not a hipfire improvement. So that's what the old hipfire looks like. So obviously doing this test is irrelevant because it's not changed, so we're going to have exactly the same results, although the hipfire in the new one is looking really good, way better than the old one. So although this says that it's not getting a hipfire buff, it definitely has got a hipfire buff. So considering the patch notes said that this was getting an ADS buff and we see no change, I assume that is simply wrong. And this was supposed to be in the list for the hipfire improvements, and it's not a huge change. It's probably not going to bring the FO12 out of retirement like old shotgun buffs have, but for you guys that run around with hipfire and this thing all over the place, it is a little bit more lethal than it was. Next up, we've got the Sigma 12 shotgun, another fan favorite that usually does quite well and is available on quite a few operators. You can see here that the aim down sight accuracy is really quite bad and nothing to write home about. So going on to the new version, this is what we're looking at, and yeah, not looking that great already. So yeah, looking at the side by side, no improvements. And again, this one is listed as having ADS improvements. I don't see that. So are we going to see a repeat where this one actually has hipfire improvements? So you can see this weapon has a really spread out pattern with hipfire, and as a result, if you want to get kills with this hipfiring, you would have to use its rate of fire in order to actually get over the damage you need to eliminate players. And then with the new test, I think we're already seeing a tighter pattern because we're barely coming out of that initial circle there, which is definitely better than what it was in the previous one. And side by side, we see that, yeah, an improvement in the hipfire accuracy. Again, this was down in the patch notes as having ADS improvements, but it's actually hipfire improvements for this shotgun. Now that brings us to the overall conclusions. So first of all, take this from a shotgun noob. I don't play shotguns too often. However, with these changes, I'm definitely thinking of running the Supernova a little bit. So there is definitely enough improvements for me to change my gameplay style based on what we've seen today. We've also seen that the patch notes are wrong with some of these shotguns, and there's some shotguns that I did not test today, and it's quite possible that they have different buffs compared to what they're listed as having. And it seems like the consistency here is that when they're listed as only getting an ADS buff, that might actually just be a hipfire buff. I also feel like there's two clear winners here, which is the Supernova, which is already a very good shotgun and consistent, and the new version is even more consistent and more lethal. And the ITA 12L is definitely significantly better than it was in the previous version, so it should become far more lethal. And I could see a lot more Miras running this shotgun rather than running the Vector, which is not something I thought I would ever say. So yeah, overall, it's a bit of a scatter shot, just like the shotguns themselves with the outcomes here, but definitely there's some clear winners, there's some clear losers, and overall, This is probably a good thing for a lot of shotgun users, but it does not impact everybody. Like I said, Pulse and Frost, they're not getting improvements to their shotties, but we are seeing significant buffs to quite a few of them here today. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe, because this is always a pain in the ass to actually test shotguns, but I think we got some good outcomes today. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.